Welcome back to OpenLine. Sure glad you are joining us tonight. We are talking about 5 mistakes to avoid when it comes to retirement planning. I'm here with John Navin from John Navin and Associates. Thank you for being in for this hour. We've gone through 2 mistakes.
Yes.
But before we get to the third one, I want to talk about the stress test you have, because we've talked about how retirement planning can be stressful.
Yes.
What is the stress test that you offer?
That is something that we offer. It's basically it's our first step into helping people. So it is a very good detailed look at understanding a little bit about what you're going to use possibly for income. So where are we going to look and what vehicles are we going to use for income for you specifically. We look at your whole portfolio. So what kind of fees are you paying? Are you paying more fees than you should be? If we have another 2008, which you mentioned, and we saw it about a month ago where the markets were kind of crazy.
Shaky.
Yep. What's that going to do to your portfolio? So if you're entering or if you're within 5 years of retirement, now is a perfect time to do a portfolio stress test. And today what we're doing is we're offering the first 10 callers. Now no one is there, but if you leave your name and phone number at our office, the first 10 people that call right now, we'll keep track of who they are, and we'll do the portfolio stress test for free. So
great. It's
very, very non-threatening. It gives us a good look at where you are and what's happening, and then how you compare to the rest of the market and the rest of the people in essence. So it's a good tool to get good information.
A good starting off point to avoid those 5 mistakes, right? And not too late if you're within that 5 years of retirement. You're getting close on time, but you can still turn, some things around.
Oh yeah. Actually, there's a study out. 81% of the population changes advisors within 5 years of retirement.
Why is that?
Well, there's different experts. For example, you have, when you first are starting out investing, you're in what's called an accumulation phase. So from 20 to basically 60, in that area, you're accumulating assets. Well, the same vehicles or tools or investments you use to accumulate are not the same tools that you're going to use to distribute. So from 60 to 80 or so, you enter into this distribution phase. And then from 80 on, you're in preservation. So, within 5-10 years of retirement, you want to take a look at where you are, and it doesn't make your individual bad. It just you want to make sure you find someone,
you got the right person
that helps you with retirement income planning, and that's what we specialize in. So we've been doing it for 22 years, and that's all we do is work in that sector. Again, just to make sure people retire the way they want to retire.
Because how gratifying is that when people come in and say, I'm doing what I always wanted to do in retirement, and I've got the money to do it. That has to be really gratifying. Okay, we've talked about the first 2 mistakes. First one being not having a plan and then not revisiting it. The second one, living too large for your means, having to rein in that spending. The third one, not planning for health care costs. Health care is such a big deal today. We all receive those bills in the mail or EOB saying you owe this and this is what it costs, and the fees are astronomical. How do you plan for something like that? They just keep going up and up and up.
I'm smiling because you said EOB like you were in the insurance world or something. Explanation of benefits.
I'm married to a chiropractor. That's how I know this.
So you know EOBs. All right.
I know EOBs and the cursing that goes along with them.
The mistake that I see here more often than not is not planning for how much that's actually going to be. Fidelity recently, I'm cheating on my notes a little bit, said that the average person will spend about $240,000 in health care in retirement.
$240,000.
$240,000.
That's actual money that you are spending. Wow.
So now you'll have Medicare supplements, and we could talk about this one day if anybody just wants to talk about Medicare supplements and Medicare and Medicaid. Those are all different. Social Security is another one. We did a talk on Social Security a few weeks back, and that was something else we can still address. But all those play an integral part in coming into how much you're going to spend on your health care. If you use the government programs and the ones that you've been entitled to, you've paid into, you can minimize some of those costs. But that's why it's one of the mistakes that we see, is that it's there. Some people, because they don't have the information, don't just know where to turn to get it, so they're spending this money. And so, $240,000 is where we are. For the first time, also, we're going to see that longevity. So, the market that we deal in mostly is this. Well, they're probably about 53 to 65 are most of our clients when they come see us. So they're in that demographic. Now we have some younger, and naturally we have a lot that are older because they've been with us for 23 years. So, but when they come to us, that's where they are, and they're concerned about retirement planning, and they're concerned about you know, healthcare. But that demographic right now, healthcare is one of the #1 concerns. So you're going to see it more and more because they aren't sure what the expenses are going to be.
Right.
And we're living longer, and we want to be alive.
Yes. We'll be feeling great, doing well.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing that probably people are not planning for, and it's hard to know what's going to happen down the road. Let's face it. But long-term care,
yeah.
and this can become such an issue, especially when you see Alzheimer's and things like this. And those options become so expensive.
Yes.
And can really be a burden to your younger family members.
Yeah. Long-term care, the statistics there are. If you're a married couple, there's a 71% chance that one of you will need some type of long-term care assistance.
71%.
71%. So more so than you're getting in a car accident, more so than your house burning down. You need to have some kind of assurance or method to deal with these escalating long-term care costs, because the average cost is about $84,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, but we probably have a few minutes if we. I'll expand on that a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Because long-term care, there's ways around it. Because people will say to me, should I buy long-term care insurance?
Right.
How should I pay for it? When we sit down and we're doing our planning process, we will look and we'll say, how do you want to address long-term care? It makes no difference to us how you do it. We just have to plan for it. Meaning, some people want to buy the insurance and they want to buy long-term care insurance. I don't know that I would suggest you do that. There's other ways around it, and I'll explain in a second. The other way is we're just going to pay for it. So I hear this a lot. We're just going to pay for it. That's great, but we've got to make sure we set aside some dollars to pay for it. And we have to make sure that we're realistic on what we think the cost is going to be. Because everybody you talk to about this, how many people are going to go to the nursing home? None, right?
Right, nobody wants to be there.
Nobody's going. I'm not going to go. You know, I hear everything from, you know, just step out in this life, or
right.
Yeah.
They'll have to wheel me out of here. Yeah.
I'm not going to a nursing home, but if you can't, somebody can't take care of you.
Right.
There's
What do
nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So we really do have to address it. And then there's a middle one where you kind of blend the two. And right now there's some really neat tools that are available, products, vehicles that are available, where you can. You don't have to buy a long-term care insurance, but you can use your existing life insurance or additional life insurance, where they'll put riders on your life insurance policy. So, for example, and this may be getting too complicated for our hour, but I'm going to take a shot at it.
Sure.
If somebody has a $200,000 life insurance policy and they have a long-term care rider, what will happen is the company will pay typically 3%, 4%, depends on the company and the carrier you look at, towards a long-term care benefit. So, if you have a $200,000 policy, 4% a year is what they'll pay out, or 4% a month, pardon me, is what they'll pay out. Typically in that scenario, it works out to be about a 4-year benefit. So what happens is you can have this life insurance policy. If you never need the long-term care, when you pass away, someone's going to get that benefit tax-free. So when you die, someone's going to inherit $200,000 tax-free, which is nice. But if you do need the long-term care, you've got it. You've got it covered.
Yeah. So that should be some peace of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would that option be called again? If someone says, "Ooh, I want to ask somebody about this."
That's called life insurance with a long-term care rider.
Okay.
There's another one. Now we're really getting technical for a Monday night. They call it index annuity that will also put. A lot of times what they do is they put something called the home health care doubler on these income riders, and what it'll do is if somebody needs to go into the nursing home, they'll double the amount of income that they're paying out. So both of these, I'll put a little caveat or a disclaimer. Not good for everybody. This is not a one-size-fits-all. You need to sit down with somebody and really go through what your situation is, but I wanted to at least share some good ideas that are out there, that if they're seeing somebody or they want to come talk with us, we could say, hey, this is something to look at and address. So.
Another thing folks don't like to talk about, we've already hit topics like healthcare, retirement planning, tax preparation, and tax strategy when it comes to retirement. That's like a double whammy.
Yeah.
Whew.
It is.
What does that mean?
This is kind of a bonus one. This could be the 6th mistake that we see people make. Confusing a tax planner with an accountant.
Okay.
All right. Typically when you go to your accountant, when do you go to your accountant?
Well, right before. Not right before. I plan a little bit better than that.
January.
But, yeah, exactly.
Maybe February. And I didn't mean you specifically, so it could be anybody. But that's when they typically go.
Yeah.
They'll go to the accountant a couple months before.
Here's all my papers.
Here's my stuff.
Yeah. Do your work.
Exactly. What does he do? He comes back. I got some bad news for you, Carrie.
Yep.
It's going to cost X number of dollars, and then he gives you a bill to pay him his fee.
Yes.
Whereas tax planners, and this is where it's a key, some financial people will do it. It's a part of our process. Some accountants will do it. But you want to sit with somebody who will actually help you plan those taxes. So right now is a perfect time because you're approaching the end of the year. So decisions can be made now that could impact what your tax bill is at the end of the year. But if you don't have a planner, somebody that sits down and says, well, you know what, if you change this from here to here, you'll pay X less in taxes. Most people don't do it. They just go to the accountant, like we say, drop it off. You owe this. Oh, that stinks. We're paying too much in tax.
Sign the check, sign the documents, and off you go. Yes. Well, what sort of tax issues affect you in retirement that should be red flags at this point?
Social Security is one. So you get taxed on Social Security again. So that is one of the benefits that we still have available that, you know, and this could be another mistake, not fully understanding how your Social Security benefits work to maximize what, again, you've already paid into for 35 years. So you get taxed on Social Security depending on how much income you have. It could be anywhere up to 85% for a married couple. You've already paid tax on that money. There's ways that you can get around it depending upon how you take your income. Another one is if you look at your tax form on line 8B, and I am not an accountant, but on line 8B it says interest earned from tax-exempt investments. Well, why would the government want to know how much interest we earn from tax-exempt investments? Because it all gets counted, and these are going to be like municipal bonds. It all gets counted in the calculation for how much income you have, so they tax you on Social Security. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, they're not going to take away Social Security. They may work towards a flat tax, and you can battle any side of the camp you want to battle, and we hear it all and see it all. So they'll probably blend a little bit of all of it, but you have to understand what the rules are so you know how to work within them.
Sure.
And that's the key. And the tax code is, what, 1,400 pages long? It's,
right. You can't try to figure it out yourself. You have to have someone who has done that work for you. That is their job. All right.
So you want to surround yourself with a good team. So find a good group of people and surround yourself. And you have that within your office, the associates part. The associates are all, everybody. All the experts, all in one. We become your quarterback if we're going to talk football. We are talking football next, by the way. Coming up, absolutely. Let's go over those tips that we've gone through so far. Not having the plan and putting it on autopilot. Once you do have it, that's one of the big mistakes. Overspending, that's another big mistake. Ignoring higher health care costs, and then not planning for that long-term care. Also, not tax planning. Yes. We had a lot of planning to do. A lot of stuff going on here. But it's not, you mentioned something, it's not as daunting as it sounds. You know, we make it sound overwhelming, and it is, if you've never done it. But you mentioned something, you know, earlier in the show about people coming in or seeing us or doing something. I want to stress, too, there's no rearview mirror. All right, so don't feel like what you did in the past defines your future. And that you're going to be sitting there going, bad Carrie, bad Carrie. Everybody comes, and you all have different goals, and you have different dreams, and you have different pasts. And I call it filters. You know, we all have a different filter of life. I didn't get where I got 49 years later, the same way you got where you got 29 years later. So, you know, we all have these different filters. There's no rearview mirror. So don't beat yourself up. Don't let anybody else beat you up. Just look and say, where are we going to go from here, and how do we do it? Did you just call me 29 years old? You are a smart man. You're way off, but you're smart. I like it. I like you. I just may give you all my money to take charge of. Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We would love to hear from you tonight. Go ahead and give us a call. If you have a retirement planning question for John here, go ahead and give us a call on the break. 737 plus at 7587. We'll be right back.